Hi
Now
again,
we're
Luke
on.
Rizzo. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. So I'm just
It's,
going to give a quick little intro again for those who missed the first time you were on the show. You are my first repeat guest, so welcome back.
oh, I
Um,
love it. I love it. I love it. That's great.
so for those who missed the last interview, which probably was around September of last year,
Yeah.
Luke is a New York-based DJ who produces and performs as Cloak Dagger with releases on German label Andy Whitey, Horizon, as well as his own boutique edits label Knock Boots. He's a resident DJ at the W Hotel in Times Square and the Sofia in Englewood, and runs the Cloak Dagger agency out of Hudson Yards in New York. So it's been 9 months since our last chat. Catch me up. What's been going on?
Yeah, a lot's been going on. I have a new single out right now with NDYD, so I'm really excited about that. It's called Devotion, and it's about a 100 BPM, real easy new disco kind of vibe, with a really nice vocal hook in it. So I'm really excited about it. And early support's been really good. Everyone seems really excited about it. I've been mixing it into all my sets, my early sets, and everyone really digs it. So I'm really excited about it.
Good. It's a really nice representation of the kind of warm, sexy lounge vibes that I think you're really well known for.
Thank you.
And that's out on Andy Whitey, correct?
Correct. Yes. Worldwide. It's Spotify, everywhere you get good music.
And you had a nice release party for that. Tell us how that went.
Yeah, we did. Last Saturday, we had a release party at the W in Times Square, and it was beautiful. We had a lot of people come out by about midnight. We go to about 1 a.m. at the W, and by about midnight, it was packed. So the room was nice and filled in. And of course, I had to drop the single at the very end of the night,
Yeah.
when I was a little tipsy. So it was a real kind of magical moment for me at being in Times Square at 1 o'clock in the morning and playing my new single for a whole crowd of people. Was a
Yeah,
really it was like a bucket list thing. It was really cool.
that's awesome. So 9 months ago when we last talked, people, I want to say, were just starting to come out of lockdown. How have things changed, and what was it to 9 months later be dropping your release at this party?
Yeah, I mean, it's night and day. This time last year, I was just running the booking agency. I wasn't even DJing at the time at all. So I had my main gig was I was booking out of a hotel called the Marmara Park Ave, and I was just booking live jazz singers out there. There was no DJing. There was really nothing going on in Manhattan. Very limited kind of things. And now
Was that because there were still limitations as to how many people could gather or where people could gather and that kind of thing?
Correct. Yeah, correct. Exactly. I mean, everyone was still a little bit on edge. Everyone was kind of vaccinated, but you still kind of had to show the vaccine card if you were coming out. And then we had the other variant that popped off. And when that happened, because we kind of got back into things, I picked up a couple more of my residencies that was DJing. And then when the other variant came in, all the hotels kind of leveled off again. And so we were just doing jazz bookings for a little bit. And yeah, so I was able to get the Marmara Park Ave, which is a beautiful place. But then that slowly kind of fizzled out once things started coming back, once we were like, okay, we can start DJing again finally.
Yeah.
So I mean, now we're lock, stock, and loaded. We're fully back in, and everything's great.
Good. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. I kind of had a similar experience. I went to tour the UK at the end of November, beginning of December, and I had to cut it short because I could feel the doors were closing. I was like, I don't want to get stuck in Europe for the holidays. I gotta go.
I know. Well, hey, I had you booked.
Yes, that's right. I was supposed to be in Ireland and Dublin where you do your virtual residency at the Hard Rock. Yeah, it was a bummer. That would have been my first time in Ireland, so I was really bummed about that. But
that's okay.
I had to read the right. All right, I like that positivity. It feels like everybody's back.
I signed the rain check. Yeah, of course. I signed the rain check, so we're gonna make sure that happens for you.
I love it. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So it sounds like things are popping up again. I know you've been working with some really cool talent through the Cloak Dagger agency, some cool venues, partnerships rather. Tell us about those.
Yeah, well, tonight, for example, we're over at a place called Mercado Little Spain. It's kind of like literally a miniature Spain, España,
I'm on board music. Already.
Yeah, it's a beautiful venue. And tonight I have one of my artists is a DJ by the name of Eddie Plenty, and he actually is part of the turntables on the Hudson crew. which is a really
Awesome.
legendary DJ crew from the early 2000s. You probably already know about it. So he's a perfect fit, and he's going to be there tonight. It's located in Hudson Yards, which is a really popping part of Manhattan right now on the west side.
Tell the folks about Turntables on the Hudson, because I think there are probably some people who are in Europe who may not be familiar.
Yeah, Turntables on the Hudson was it was my favorite party, particularly for my generation, which is about, between in the ages of 40 and 50, because it was such a great representation of what New York City is about. You had Afro, Latin, Brazilian DJ sets with incorporated live percussion. Shout out Gordon Nappy G, one of the most phenomenal percussion players in all of New York City. I think he lives out in Germany now. DJ Nicodemus, it was basically him. The two of them were the glue that held it together. One of the most legendary sets that stand out for me was when they kind of came all full circle, and they were able to open up for Thievery Corporation in Central Park at the Summer Stage. Amazing. It might have been 2000 and maybe it was 2006, and wow, it was such a beautiful, beautiful event. And they're just, to me, that party represents the true essence of what New York City is.
Yeah, the beautiful diversity and the coming together of people from different backgrounds. It's such a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
So I know you've also had some other new releases, remix of Zed's Funny, which you charted, I think, top 5 on Hyped It, which is awesome. It's a really nice chilled version. I would say a little more sexy and melancholy than the original. So tell me how that came about.
Yeah, so I started, if I can get a studio acapella, I'm working on something, and for some reason I was able to get that acapella, and I had it for like a year or two, and I was just sitting on it, didn't know what to do with it, started playing with it. And really what I've noticed is when things come together, they just come together quick. And if they don't come together quick, then you probably shouldn't even kill yourself doing it, And that song came together literally so quick. I mean, I had the instrumental, I arranged it in GarageBand, and it just, oh my God, to me, I got chills. It just came together perfectly. It just blended beautifully,
That's lovely.
And so I put it out and it charted. Yeah, so it was great. It's like number 4 on Hype Edit last week.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that. So I'm really terrible at being able to separate the original song in my head from like whatever I might create. Do you have any advice for how to remedy that? And maybe it's some time. It sounds like you had some time. You were sitting on the stems, and then there was a period of time that you worked on it.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, shout out the singer on that. It's such a beautiful acapella. I mean, alone it really stands on its own. It's so beautiful. And I feel like Zed as a producer, I'm not even necessarily this monster Zed fan, but I feel like he always has a knack for finding really beautiful vocals for his tracks.
Yeah, it's a good song. It's just a good song.
It's a good song, right? Yeah, absolutely. No, it's just a good song. Like I said, the acapella stands on its own, but then the instrumental that I was able to build only took me maybe about 3 weeks to arrange that. I mean, it came together really quick. And then once I started plugging the vocals in, I was like, oh, I got something here. I was like, I think this is going to be something nice, And yeah, sure enough, if usually I trust my ear, and this time I was spot on. I was right, So it was a great mix, and it just happened I put it out a week before the new single came out, but I was like, I can't sit on it. It's too good. I want the people to have it, So
I'm going to guess it fed into the next thing. People had their ears perked for you because they were like, this is great. Let's see what else is going on.
Right. Well, it's interesting because the reason why I started working on that song again, I was just sitting on it. The beat is actually about the same beat as Devotion's beat. And I was working on a mixtape for, I have a new mixtape coming out for NDYD, and I was just working on that. And I'm a freak. When I'm in the studio and I'm mixing, I'm like, oh, these songs don't blend perfectly. If they're not in key, then I'm going to wind up producing my own thing that's going to do it, Okay. And that's kind of was the impetus for this. So I started building off that beat. And then, everything kind of just came into place from there.
Very nice. So it works well into this other project you're working on, which you have to tell us about.
Right. So I mean, it's the same BPM, it's the same beat, pretty much as Devotion. The only thing is the key I couldn't get it in the same key. But yeah, no, it's just it kind of there was no way I couldn't release it. So I had to put it out. I was like, you know what, I'm putting it out. And it turned out to be great because it did so well on Hype Edit that it kind of created this nice hype for the new single that's out.
Right on. So tell us about the mixtape for NDYD that's I assume will be featured in.
Yeah,
as well.
I'm working on it right now, so it should be out. Hopefully, I'm hoping by next week I'll have it out, and Christian will get it out to the people.
Right on. Looks like you've also got something coming out on discography lessons with our friend Ben Banjofield, who I had the pleasure of meeting in April.
Oh, did you? Oh, great.
Yeah, absolutely lovely guy. Came out to support my gig at Orange Yard in Soho. He's a super good dude. Really nice.
He seems like just such a sweetheart, you know?
Absolutely lovely. Yeah. So the background of, for people who are not familiar with discography lessons, it started out as a mixtape series, kind of to uplift people, I think, during the pandemic. And now it's been spun off into its own label, raising funds and awareness for mental health issues. So
beautiful.
Tell me a little bit how you came to get connected with Ben and what this, raising awareness for mental health concerns means to you.
Sure. Yeah. I believe Ben reached out via SoundCloud, and I'm pretty sure it was because of my, when I was doing the mix series with Steven, Disco Days.
Yeah.
So I think he reached out through that. He was a fan of my mixes on there. And then, we just built a friendship through that. And then when he started doing the label, he asked me to provide a song, and I was really happy to be a part of it. And of course, it's definitely close to my heart. I mean, I think as artists, we all kind of, battle within ourselves, and we have our own little inner demons and things like that. And music is that escape for that, So for me, producing and everything is a huge, catharsis for me to get all those things out. So to be able to release on his label and do this is beautiful.
Yeah, wonderful. So you're in the same background as you were last time I talked to you, and you've got your studio a little outside the city, right? Is that part of that? I'm going to assume that's part of the kind of the space that you get to release in and being inspired by nature and all of that.
Absolutely. I mean, this is such a beautiful place to live, and it's so quiet up here. I mean, to create here is just, it's one of the most, it's like a blank canvas being up here, because you just want to create, you just want to get it out. And it's a beautiful place to live and be able to produce and have a studio here. And it's great,
Awesome. So there are two other singles that you released fairly recently, the Boom Bap and Fall With You.
Correct. Yeah.
And I think the Boom Bap really we've talked about your love of hip hop, and I think that track really showcases your love of it with, rap vocals overlaid over, kind of a female vocal that's very like now with lots of nice laid back groove and swagger. So tell me a little bit about that one and Fall With You and how those came about.
For sure. Yeah. The Boom Bap, it's the first song I ever incorporated hip hop vocals into. So, I mean, for me, I was like, is this going to work? And do I know how to do this? And I was like, wow, it actually did work, and it worked really well. And I was really excited how that kind of blended in with her vocals, and it's a nice dichotomy of the two of them together, And then Fall With You came out after that, and that one I built off the beat of another track that I had out on the Horizon Records label last year, and was kind of sitting on that, and then added in some synths, some bass line, and then her vocals are just beautiful. And again, those vocals are off of Splice on both tracks. So both of those tracks are vocals just straight from Splice and put onto the song. Again, it's like a blank canvas, and just having it, being able to plug and play with different vocals. It's an amazing time we're living in right now to be a producer.
That's impressive, because I was going to say Fall With You. I was going to ask if you had like commissioned those vocals or contracted them.
No,
or
not
whatever,
at all.
Because they just feel really natural with your instrumental.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. No. I mean, I haven't commissioned someone vocals since it's been a long time. I mean, with Splice, there's so much. Of course, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but with Splice, there's so much out there. And for me, I love going through countless acapellas. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. And then it's like, okay, I hear that with this. Let's try it. Let's try to blend them together. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it's a great thing.
So last time we talked, we were discussing how you are on GarageBand, typically on your phone.
Yes.
Has your production system changed, or you're
I do a
still
lot. I
in
do a lot
GarageBand?
more now. No, I'm primarily in GarageBand, but I do a lot more on my laptop now.
Giving yourself a little bit more screen space to work with.
I'm like, I need to get a little bit of a bigger screen to look at now, you know? But no, but I will say that I still use GarageBand on my phone a lot. I mean, there's just countless times during the day to have the file on your phone.
I'm just imagining you being on the train somewhere, going through rolling through Manhattan and making those tracks on your phone.
I mean, I'm not lying to you when I tell you that I will work on the song in the most obscure places. I'll work on it in the parking lot of the grocery market, you know? It's just that, to me, that's the beauty of it, because when you feel it, you can just work on it. You know? Yeah. It's in your back pocket, literally. You know? So it's an amazing time to be alive. The
science of it is that our minds get switched on by visual stimuli. Okay. And so, you know, whether it's, you know, you go on a long drive or whatever, and, you know, the road passing by you, or you're walking through the forest or whatever it is, those are the things, or you're standing in the bathroom washing your hair, looking at a bar. So like those are, for whatever reason, those are the things that like switch on our inspiration. So it's really cool, but I'm not surprised that you're, you know, out and about kind of living your life in the grocery line or whatever, and something pops up.
Yeah, absolutely. Or, you know, I'll be driving and I'm like, oh, I really want to finish that part of the song, but I know I got to get these groceries. And I'm like, hold on, I got it right here. You know, and the other thing is my car has a great system. I drive a Volkswagen, and I have a beautiful system in there. So just to plug in and listen to it in there in the surround sounds almost better than what I have in my monitors in my studio. You know?
Oh, I'm sure. It's got to all go through the car test, right? At some point.
Course,
so may as well start there.
Of course. I don't even know how they put out music before you couldn't test it in a car. I don't even know how like Led Zeppelin did it, or how did you do it, you know?
It's not right until it's gone through the car test.
Right. Absolutely.
So how this call actually started was I had reached out to you about having interest in kind of going after more boutique hotel niche type gigs, which is kind of your area of specialty. And I think a lot of us who are in the more groovy, deeper side of house and disco, a lot of us cross over into that arena. But I thought that the advice that you gave me would be interesting for folks to hear. So if you wouldn't mind kind of resharing some of your insights, running an agency for specific to those areas and being a DJ in that space. Like, if you wouldn't mind sharing some of your tips that you shared with me, I would appreciate it.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, at least what worked for me was I really am a firm believer in having some kind of agency representation, because it's very difficult to just show up in a place, hand over a mixtape, like what we used to do back in the day. When management's running around and all these different things, a lot of times they don't even want to be bothered. And a lot of the times, at least in Manhattan, the hotels, they won't even talk to you unless you are represented by an agency, you know? So what worked really well for me was I initially signed to a booking agency called CHIC, based out of Manhattan, back in 2015. And I was on a roster with really big names, Lil' Kim, they even represented other celebrities who did DJ gigs like Shaquille O'Neal and stuff like that. So, you know, having that list with my name on it, literally on the roster, would say Cloak Dagger, Shaquille O'Neal, Lil' Kim, you know, those are things that pop out when you're, you know, when a manager or whatnot is looking for a DJ for an event, or, you know, for a residency. Sometimes just having that connection and being able to get your foot in the door is just invaluable.
Yeah.
And then I know another way I told you would be, if you can't get agency representation, because it's not always available, it's not always the easiest thing to get into. One easy way to kind of get in is throw your own event. And even if it was just, like I said, something as simple as a birthday party or something like that. I mean, I know personally I've gotten residencies. One of my first residencies at a boutique hotel was the Smith Hotel in Tribeca. And the foot in the door there, this was about maybe 15 years ago, 12 years ago, was I just did a birthday party for a friend. She was having her party there. I DJ'd there. They liked what I did. I played to the crowd for the last 2 hours of the event. And then they asked me back, and then they asked me back again and again and again. And then I became a resident there for 3 years. And that was only because a friend had hosted an event there. So it's kind of a sneaky, easy way to get in there, host an event, DJ, show what you can do, because the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
And then take it from there.
Well, also it gives you the opportunity to kind of sniff out and feel the management there. Do I like working with these people? Like, do they get what I do? You know? Absolutely.
And one thing I'll say is which you I'm sure most people kind of are familiar with, hotels have an extremely quick turnover with managers. So you can't get too caught up in a manager's opinion of you or anything like that, because a lot of times these people don't even understand the music, the vibe. They understand the back end, the food and beverage side of it. However, because a lot of the hotels, a lot of the restaurants are quote unquote cutting corners, they will have those people manage the artists and the DJs. So one thing I'll say is don't ever get discouraged if a manager didn't like what you do, or a manager doesn't hire you on site to DJ at the event, because a lot of times that's not their specialty. However, they're hired, unfortunately, to book those out.
Yes. I will add to that by saying that sometimes if there are kind of managerial issues going on in that space, that the DJ kind of ends up being the lowest hanging fruit as far as what to criticize or what to axe.
Absolutely.
Even if there are things that have nothing to do with you or your music.
100%.
We're kind of the easy target. So
absolutely.
Don't get discouraged.
Right? That's what Morrissey said, you know. He said it way back in the 80s, and it still holds true.
It absolutely does. Oh my gosh. So how did you get on with that agency that you signed on with early, with all those big names?
Right. I was lucky. I was really lucky. I don't know if this is, and everyone I'm friends with who's with an agency, I don't think they had this happen. I literally sent an email with a press kit and then was asked to come in almost like a job interview. And it was quick. It was like, can you come in the next day? I was like, sure, I'll be there, you know? And it was in Midtown Manhattan. I flew in, went up, did it, met the agent, and pretty much signed the deal on the spot. So I was really fortunate with that. And like as I told you, they put me relatively very quick into residencies. Actually, that was where I first got into the W Hotel in Times Square. And I'm still there today. I'm no longer with that agency, but I'm still with the W Hotel under a different agency now.
Right on. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I after our conversation, I started looking up agencies in Atlanta, and there are definitely, specific to special events, weddings, and that kind of thing. And then there was one that I stumbled upon that was, had a lot of big name talent on it. Didn't see any DJs in there. So I was wondering, is this the right fit? But now I know maybe this is something to explore, because not every event can afford, fill in the blank big talent name. They need somebody else who can sort of emulate that vibe or that sound or whatever, but they're not going to be able to afford, whoever.
No. They most places, even in Manhattan, the most highest profile places, they can't afford to hire,
on New Year's Eve, yes, when they're charging $100, $200 a night and $5,000 bottle service or whatever. But on a Thursday in the middle of June, it's not happening.
No. And it's like anything else in life. It's literally just connections. It's who you know. It's networking. One of the most important things is going out, meeting people, going to other people's events, and just maintaining friendships with people who are already in these places. And then, for me, there's times I can't do a gig. I met somebody who came out to see me just in the room, and now they're part of my agency, and I book them out other places. Or they fill in for me at the W or at Little Spain or Sofia of Englewood or X, Y, and Z. So just being out and meeting, I don't think, even though I know it's very convenient, we live in such a virtual world, but I don't think there's anything, you can't put a price tag on actually meeting people face to face and putting that impression, making an impression with people that way.
Yeah. And thankfully, we're at a stage in this game where we can get back out there since
Right,
we weren't able to
absolutely.
for a couple of years
Right.
there.
I know.
Um,
Yeah. So it just feels good to be out. Right.
last question on this topic. So you mentioned that you actually like went in for an interview, kind of sort of this, which just feels odd as DJs, you know, we're
Yeah,
talking about this in-person
right.
thing. So like, does it behoove us to set up a LinkedIn page for our, you know, going that slightly more traditional route of hiring, or like,
You
what
know,
do you think?
I got to be honest with you. I don't, for me, and again, I know there's multiple ways to achieve things in life. For me, I've never gotten anything from LinkedIn. I don't see, but again, I also live in a very high energy, you know, place with New York City being so close. But yeah, I mean, it can't hurt, right? But it wasn't the kind of thing where, oh, we looked at your DJ resume and we hired you. You know, it was more about sending a mix and sending some pictures, you know?
Got it.
And that was really it, you know? And then walking into their office, a lot of agencies don't have an office, right? This agency actually had an office, which is, you know, in Manhattan, that's kind of a thing. So it kind of looked like one of like the Real World houses. Or something, you know, it was like a pool table, it was like a couch. And,
it's got that very cool kind of early stage startup vibe.
Yeah, it had like a, you know, the elevator was like a pull, you know, you pull the chain and you come up on the elevator. It was a pretty cool vibe, you know. Nice. So, right, but no, I mean, again, just to really push home that point, I really think having agency representation is huge, you know, and even running myself now, having my own little agency that I'm trying to build up. You know, there's guys that are working for me and maybe just started working with me maybe a couple months ago, and they're working every weekend, you know, and it's only because of that link in between, you know, of joining the agency and me having the contact for the venues and staffing the venues with DJs. Yeah,
which is really valuable, because I would say there's a fair amount of us who are maybe not that outgoing or don't know how to open that door for ourselves, but to have somebody who already has that relationship and can vouch for you and your talent and what you play and how it makes sense in this space because that person has already played it is really invaluable. So you're providing a great service to your DJs.
Right. Don't try to do things that you don't do well. You know, if you're a really good DJ and that's your focus, but marketing and networking isn't your thing, well, then let someone, you know, delegate that to someone else, and then they'll open up the lanes for you to start DJing more.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. So last time we did the Island Time speed round of questions. As you know, I also like to
hold on. I gotta have a sip of beer for this one.
Okay. I like to manifest some things as well. So we're kind of going to combine the two. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. So what's the next label that you want to release on?
Ooh, let's see. I'd love to release something on the Roche label out of France. Like, that'd be great.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the label for those who aren't familiar with it.
That's so that's like Darius puts out stuff. I think Cherokee had stuff out on that. There's a whole vibe with those guys, and it's really nice synthy disco kind of stuff. The Buell, I think I'm saying his name wrong, but they got a really beautiful vibe. Those guys. Cartel is another one of the producers on that label. Okay. And yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like my niche is kind of in that lane, kind of like a Satin Jackets kind of vibes, kind of what I do, you know?
Okay. Number two, since you have a lot of you have a beautiful ear for vocals, like who are two vocalists that you would love to work with?
Oh my God. I really love a lot of the, like kind of the future house kind of stuff. And I love a lot of, Becky Hill. I love her vocals. Karen Hardin. I love her vocals. I love really big, strong female vocals, even though the new track has a male. I think it was the first time it might have been the first song I ever did with a male vocalist. And I love that too. But yeah, I would say Karen Hardin. I love her vocals. My God. And not so much tone. I love melody, you know? Obviously tone is important, but to me, if the melody doesn't grab me, if it doesn't give me chills, then I'm on to the next, you know?
Yeah. Can't work with it.
Right, because it's easy to put out music. It's just easy now for me. It's easy to just put out music that I can just sequence. But I'm like, hold on, don't just do it just for the sake of sequencing because it fits like a glove. Do it because it's giving you something emotionally, you know. And I really feel that with devotion.
The two combined, your instrumental and this vocal are creating something greater than the sum of its parts, right?
Exactly, you know, and it's like, trust your ear. As a DJ, we know what people want to hear, you know, and you do that for a reason. That's what you're blessed with, is to have that ear.
Yeah.
And for me, it's, again, if I'm going to put something out, if I'm going to release something, then I want to have that feeling, and then hopes everyone else gets that feeling, which I think on the new track, that's what we've accomplished. Or I've accomplished. No one else released it. It's just me in the studio. And of course,
GarageBand.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say that. It's the beautiful samples and sounds that I'm taking off of, you know, sampling from Splice too. So for sure that too.
Right on. Okay, last one. 3 venues or brands that you would like to partner with.
Well, we just partnered. The new agency that I'm working with is, we're called Top 40 Lifestyle, out of Manhattan. And we have the W Hotel in Times Square, and we just got the Hard Rock Hotel in Times Square. So I know I'm still kind of working with the Hard Rock out of Dublin, and we just got the New York City one for Monday nights. So that was I'm looking to really build off that and hoping we can grow off that even more.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Last but not least, tell everybody where they could find you and your music online.
Yeah, everything. My handle's at Cloak Dagger NYC. And then of course on Spotify, please shoot me a follow on Spotify, because it's hard to get your music heard on Spotify. there's a lot of, you know, SoundCloud, I have my lane and I have my fans and my followers, and I really appreciate that. But it's like trying to get into that Spotify world, get onto those playlists is a whole different other, you know, world.
It's a different animal, and on all the platforms, they're changing the algorithms on us every single day. So if anybody's got the secret to that, hit us up. yeah.
I mean, really. And let's hope that it doesn't get to the point where once you blow up on Spotify, then it's the next platform. Okay. Like MySpace.
No more platforms, please. Thank you.
Right? Remember MySpace? We all thought, oh, I got my fan base, and then I
met my husband on MySpace, not to date myself or
anything.
Oh
my God. Beautiful. Well, there you go. I mean, that's great. That's great. Actually, I met my wife. Not on MySpace, but I think when I first got MySpace.
Okay.
I think I changed my profile picture shortly after I first got MySpace with my wife and I. So I remember that. Right.
Those moments, it gets real. I just changed my profile to include my in there. That's how
Right?
It was the beginning of it all.
Is your MySpace still active?
No idea. I have no idea what's going on with MySpace. I know they sort of tried to relaunch it as a music.
That's weird. It's very weird. Mine is still
and Justin
there.
Timberlake was involved or something. I should try to go look just to see what's there. Now I'm curious.
Yeah. I know mine.
Okay, so tell people where to find you on MySpace.
Okay, I think it's MySpace / DJ Cloak Dagger. I don't know though. I'm not sure about that. You know, I had my artist name before Cloak Dagger was actually Ponyboy Curtis. I don't know if you know him. I don't know if you know what movie that's from.
Yes, I do.
From The Outsiders. So
yes.
And I don't know. There's times I don't know if I should have changed it. Maybe I should have stayed with Ponyboy.
I don't know. You might have to bring that one back out just as another moniker to like do some other types of releases on. I kind of like it.
I still I did release a few edits under Knock Boots under Ponyboy.
Okay.
If anybody's really interested in that.
Keep it alive. You know where to find it online. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
Excited you were a return guest, and we'll have to do this again when the next big thing comes up. I'm here for it. Thanks so much.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.